and welcome to Food Origins, where I discuss the origins of ingredients, cooking methods, and dishes from prehistoric to historic times. I am your host, anthropologist and foodie, Bianca Buck. Within the show, we will be transforming antiquated foods into delicious modern-day recipes that you can make at home. Today on Food Origins, we will be discussing the globally beloved beverage and cooking ingredient, beer, which will be the central ingredient in our dish, beer braised bratwursts. Today, beer is a drink commonly found nestled in the ice-packed coolers of summertime cookouts or littering the bar tops of pubs during the Sunday football match. But could you imagine a world where you drank beer out of a bowl for breakfast, sang about brewing in church, and received your annual bonus in beer? Well, this was the reality for many Near Eastern cultures for thousands of years, who invented the beloved beverage over 5,000 years ago. The oldest physical evidence of beer was discovered in the Zargos mountains of modern-day Iran, forming what is considered to be the far eastern border for the oldest civilization known to man, Mesopotamia. It was within the agricultural village of Godin Tepe that vessels coated in beer were recovered by archaeologists and found to date back to the 4th millennium BCE. Anthropologists have determined that the development of beer was likely accidental, having been the product of waterlogged barley that had fermented while in storage. It was common for barley to have been stored within the households of the antiquated city, being that barley was one of Mesopotamia's earliest cultivated crops and was used to make bread. These original beer recipes were created by women and consisted of fermented, twice-baked barley bread known as bapper, and had the grainy, thick consistency of oatmeal. Beer quickly perforated the entirety of Mesopotamian culture, due to it being a safer alternative than drinking water, which was often contaminated with microorganisms. The beer of the time was lower in alcohol content than it is today, but richer in carbohydrates, vitamins, and proteins, causing beer to become a staple within the Sumerian diet, and it was even integrated into their religious beliefs. Archaeologists have even recovered transcribed hymns celebrating the goddess of beer, Ninkasi. And though the Sumerians did invent beer, the drink quickly traveled throughout the Old World and became a part of many early cultures' histories. Today, as an ode to beer, we are going to be making beer braised bratwursts, which is an easy and versatile dish that can be made on the stove or on the grill. Let's get started. For this recipe, you will need 6 shallots, 2 cups of beer, preferably a lager, a 6-pack of bratwursts, a teaspoon and a quarter of Worcestershire sauce, 2 teaspoons of brown sugar, 1 tablespoon of Dijon mustard, a splash of canola oil, 2 teaspoons of cornstarch, 2 teaspoons of apple cider vinegar, a half a teaspoon of dried thyme, a tablespoon of soy sauce, and salt and pepper. In a cast iron pan or Dutch oven, add approximately 2 tablespoons of canola oil, or just enough to coat the pan. I recommend canola oil as opposed to olive oil due to its higher burning point. Set the pan to medium-high heat. After the oil has heated, add in your 6 bratwursts. All you want to do in this first step is to get a nice brown on both sides of the sausage, but to not cook them all the way through. Leave the sausages to brown approximately 5 minutes per side. While your bratwursts are browning, cut your shallots into long, thin strips. You could also use a large yellow onion as an alternative to shallots. Once your bratwursts are nicely browned, remove them from the pan and set aside. In the same pan, add in your 6 sliced shallots, half a teaspoon of dried thyme, 2 teaspoons of brown sugar, salt and pepper to taste, then mix and let sit cooking on medium-low until the shallots are translucent and limp. This should take approximately 10 minutes. After the shallots have cooked down, add in 1 tablespoon of Dijon mustard, 1 1/4 teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce, a tablespoon of soy sauce, which will add a nice umami undertone to the flavor, 2 teaspoons of apple cider vinegar, 2 cups of beer. I recommend a lager, which is smoother and less potent than other beers. Finally, add in 2 to 3 teaspoons of cornstarch to achieve your desired thickness. Make sure to sift in the cornstarch or it will clump. This step will create a textured sauce resembling a gravy out of the beer mixture. Immediately following this step, add your bratwursts to the pan and let them stew in the covered pan at a low simmer for 25 minutes. Feel free to give them a stir every now and again so that the shallots don't stick to the bottom, and give your bratwursts a flip. During this step, the gravy will boil down and thicken, resulting in a creamy and densely flavorful sauce, which will be absorbed by the bratwursts. This dish is best served over mashed potatoes or on a hoagie roll. Thank you for watching, and remember to like and subscribe.